It's time for Caribbean News, covering current events from around the world, regionally and locally, with Sean Garrity on this station. It's news the Caribbean can use. And now, the details. Caribbean region's economy expected to grow by just 2.5% for 2022, says the IMF. It's more grim economic news for the Caribbean. According to the IMF's latest World Economic Outlook report for 2022, the Caribbean's new projected growth for 2022 is 2.5%, which is lower than the 3% projected in October of 2021. The IMF notes that the region is severely impacted by GDP downgrades for most of its major trading partners. Rising energy and food prices has seen inflation rise to its highest levels in 15 years, resulting in many central banks having to revise monetary policy to elevated levels. Interest rates continue to go up and local currencies may experience devaluation. It is not good news for the oil and gas sector. The rice sector is also expected to grow by 25%, while gold mining is forecasted to increase by 12%. Many Caribbean countries will have to recalibrate fiscal policy while ensuring there is an effective social cushion to absorb these continuing shocks. The IMF looks to Jamaica, where a report reads, prior to the pandemic, Jamaica had successfully stabilized the economy, turning a fiscal deficit of 11% of GDP in 2009 into a 1% surplus in 2019, and reducing public debt from 142% of GDP in 2009 to 94% by 2019. The stabilization paid off through a sharp decline in interest rates, and the government's interest bill fell from 70% of GDP in 2009 to 6% in 2019. When the economy was hit by the pandemic, the government temporarily reduced the fiscal balance target to increase spending on health and social protection and reduce the VAT rate. To safeguard the country's hard-won economic stability and in line with the fiscal responsibility law, the government aims to reduce public debt to 60% of GDP by 2028. This will further reduce interest payments, creating scope to boost spending on education, infrastructure, and poverty reduction, as well as improving the country's resilience to natural disasters. U.S. Secretary of State will not visit Guyana. From Georgetown, Guyana, the U.S. Embassy Friday denied media reports that the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is to make a visit to Guyana soon. With reference to a recent article published by Staubreak News on April 2022 on the caption U.S. Secretary of State Blinken to visit in June, the U.S. Embassy wishes to advise that there is no such visit planned at this time. In the event of such a high-level visit, the U.S. Embassy would inform and coordinate with the Guyanese government, the embassy said in a statement. The U.S.-Guyana relationship is important, and the United States continues to share a strong bilateral partnership with Guyana. The U.S. Embassy is proud to continue furthering our productive partnership, the brief statement added. The Staubreak News had quoted sources for its information. In September 2020, the U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo paid a visit to Guyana and held discussion with President Ifran Ali, who was sworn into office weeks before. Pompeo led Washington's call for then-President David Granger to step aside following the disputed March 2, 2020 regional and presidential elections.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Funtastic DJs. For all your entertainment needs, it's funtasticdjs.com.
In entertainment, Shenseea hurt over magazine's photoshopped nude cover. I literally feel violated. Shenseea is protesting her All Natural cover on Numero Netherlands magazine, which was heavily retouched. More so, the Jamaican singer is contending that she didn't authorize the magazine to issue the stripped-down photo showcasing her full nude body. I literally feel violated, my whole privacy. I have never showed that much skin on the net ever, the blessed singer wrote in an Instagram story over the weekend. This is not my image or who I even portray to be. I did not approve the damn photo. I'm not even upset. I'm hurt, honestly. In the cover photo by Nikolai Kokanovic, which has since been pulled by the magazine, the usually full-figured bombshell appeared thinner with floor-length hair styled by Lisa Jarvis. Her upper body and waist in particular were clearly edited to look more angular and smaller. In business, Google to diamonds, Africa's top business news. South Africa is clearing a backlog of shipping containers following floods in Durban, while Africa's startups are pulling in high record-breaking amounts of venture capital. Here are the top 5 business stories making the headlines in sub-Saharan Africa this week.
Here are 5 business stories making headlines in sub-Saharan Africa this week. Following devastating and deadly floods in South Africa, the government on Tuesday said the port of Durban is now functional. A backlog of thousands of containers at one of Africa's biggest shipping terminals will be cleared in 5 to 6 days, a minister said. Italy has turned to Republic of Congo as it looks to reduce its dependence on Russian gas. Amid the conflict in Ukraine, energy group Eni said on Thursday that it signed a deal to increase gas supplies from the Central African country by more than 4.5 billion cubic meters a year. Diamond miner De Beers is returning to Angola after a 10-year absence. It's formed 2 joint ventures with the state diamond company Endiama to explore license areas in the northeast. Google announced on Wednesday that it's setting up its first Africa Product Development Center in Kenya's capital Nairobi. That's as it positions itself to serve a growing base of internet users on the continent. And finally, African startups drew a record-smashing $5.2 billion in venture capital last year, according to an industry body. The African Private Equity and Venture Capital Association said that figure was more than in the 7 previous years combined. Companies like Nigeria's Paystack and Flutterwave have fueled international interest in the continent's startup scene.
Join us for exclusive pen relays coverage brought to you in part by Mars Auto Performance. Got car trouble? Call Mars at 954-572-8585. That's 954-572-8585. In sports, Verstappen and Herah win top Loris Awards. Formula One champion Max Verstappen was named the 2022 Loris Sportsman of the Year, while Olympic sprint champion Elaine Thompson-Herah bagged the top women's honor at the Digital Awards ceremony in Seville on Sunday. Verstappen became the first ever Dutch driver to win the World Championships when he clinched his maiden crown by beating 7-time winner Lewis Hamilton on the final lap of the last race of the 2021 season in Abu Dhabi in December, while Jamaica's Thompson-Herah became the first woman to win back-to-back Olympic sprint doubles when she retained her 100 meters and 200 meter titles in Tokyo last year and kept in memorable games with gold in the 4x100 meters. And your Palm Beach weather, sun and a few passing clouds with a high of 81 degrees. Winds from the east at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Then at night, mostly clear skies with a low of 72 degrees. Winds east at 10 to 20 miles per hour. And your Fort Lauderdale weather, partly cloudy skies with a high of 82 with winds east at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Then at night, mainly clear skies with a low of 73, winds east at 10 to 20 miles per hour. And that was the news, entertainment, and sports with Sean Garrity. Be sure to stay tuned to this station for more news from around the world, locally, and the Caribbean.